Stronghold is the hidden gem of crypto. In part one of our Stronghold series, we laid the foundation for everyone to really get the proper perspective on how Stronghold is revolutionizing the largest financial network in America. That network is the ACH network, which transfers over $60 trillion of value per year. And that's trillions with a T.
That's trillion with a T.
So if you missed part one of our series, pause this, go check it out, come back to this video, which is part two, where we are going to be highlighting the utility token of Stronghold. Get your notebook out, get your pen, coffee, wine, tequila, whatever you like, get it out, because this is going to be a doozy.
So I think what really differentiates Stronghold is that we kind of did everything backwards, right? So, we started off, we launched the token in 2018, but then we kind of decided to focus on, solving the problem and having a customer set. So we have hundreds of businesses already on our platform. So we process, millions of dollars of transactions a month. And again, we already have hundreds of customers. So from our perspective, we already have revenue. We're sustained not through, cryptocurrencies. We actually have a real business. We have revenue that sustains a business. So I think that is super unique. I wouldn't, I think that we're, top quartile of that, being the case, because I think that, most companies or most projects, we're a company first, but most projects, start out with, focusing on the technology and then finding product market fit later. And we've just kind of done the opposite, where we have product market fit with our payments that, we serve in just, certain communities. And then now we're introducing the token back into our pre-existing ecosystem, which is pretty amazing.
That is pretty amazing. So Stronghold did everything backwards, right? So essentially a lot of what these blockchain companies are doing is their whole company and business is centered around their cryptocurrency, and they're selling it to make money to fund their blockchain business. And they're starting from fully decentralized and trying to take over the current system, which is possibly not the best strategic approach. What Stronghold has done is they have not sold any of their token. They've built a real business using blockchain technology in the background to make the ACH network and the payment system more efficient, right? Real-time settlement, cross-border transactions, distributed ledger. They're using this technology, and they've infiltrated the financial system first using a hybrid method of a little bit of blockchain in the background, but still centralized enough to actually be adopted, right, by IBM, the World Bank, Ripple, Stellar, and as she just said, as Tammy Camp just said, hundreds of businesses, which best believe includes many, many banks, right? We've highlighted already that they've worked with the World Bank, okay? So what they've done is they've created a real business, infiltrated the system, and now they're going to introduce the token into the pre-existing network, okay? And we are early. Everyone watching this video, we have an opportunity to be early, okay? And position ourselves before this this token gets introduced into this massive network of hundreds of companies, many, many banks, and the largest financial system in America. So now let's dive into exactly how the token is going to be introduced to the Stronghold network.
We have a program, it's the rewards program. For every dollar that's processed through our systems, we actually give them a reward point. And those rewards, kind of like airline miles, can be used to either, can be used to for a discount of fees for their merchant processing. or they can hold it and just put it on their balance sheet. And, in the future, I think in the first quarter of 2022, we're going to allow them to be able to stake it and be able to earn yield on, on their balance. So that's use case number one, rewards.
There we have it. Tammy Camp just introduced us to use case number one of the Stronghold token, which is rewards, right? So in this financial network, there are merchants and there are customers, and there's going to be loyalty points. But instead of points like we see today, they're going to be tokenized, and they're going to be the Stronghold token, right? And so they're tokenizing loyalty for the largest financial network in America. Think about how many banks and how many users there are, right? I mean, that's all the money, okay? So the network effect, Metcalfe's law, the network effect is strong with Stronghold. And now all the participants are going to start getting rewarded with this token. And they will have the option, of course, to use the token to offset fees. And like she said, they're going to have the option to stake it, right? So now the participants of the network have a stake in the network, and they can get passive income. If they're early, the value of the token will rise. Of course, they can sell it. But through the staking mechanism, it encourages the participants to not sell the token because you get passive income off of it. Okay. And so she, in that video, talked about how the merchants are getting rewards. But additionally, the customers, you and I, when we go use payment networks, if we are using Stronghold Net, which is way more efficient than everything else on the market, this is where everything's headed. If you are using it, all of a sudden, this Stronghold token is going to be popping up in your digital Web3 wallet. This goes back to our Web3 wallets video. Go check it out. Web3 wallets are the killer app of blockchain. And what tokens are going to start popping up in the wallet? And think about the FOMO. Think about the network effect and the value of millions and millions and millions, if not billions of people having these wallets and then getting rewarded in tokens. What tokens are going to pop up in the wallets? Stronghold is positioning themselves to have their token be one of the main rewards tokens for the largest financial system in the world.
The exciting thing about this is where we will move to next is letting retail users interact more with promotions themselves. And we are looking at using this channel to push SHX rewards and payments right to the end consumer, which, is quite a big deal from our perspective. And this sort of goes back to that 1 million wallet piece that Tammy had the goal of earlier, because we will be able to introduce the ability for, those rewards and payments to be made by any end consumer interacting with merchants. And currently 100% of the merchants that have come on board in the last year at least are all members of the SHX rewards program, so they will be opted in.
So there you have it. Use case number one, rewards for both the merchants and the customers of the largest financial network in America. Now, there's two more use cases. Wait till the third one. That's when it all comes together. Because as Stronghold says, most tokens store value, SHX creates value.
Number two is decentralized finance. So we have a lot of SMBs that need working capital. And so, we are able to, since we're doing their payment processing, we can determine a risk score for these for these merchants. And so we have a program that enables us to give working capital to these merchants who need it, and then the crypto community can invest and stake it, and they can earn yield on the amount that we give that merchant capital for. So that's two.
Use case number two is none other than DeFi. Shout out to Reggie Middleton. DeFi is where everything's headed. DeFi, for those of you that don't know, stands for decentralized finance. And essentially what blockchain allows is the financial world to now be more decentralized, right? And so Stronghold, for example, since they are the processor, the payment processor for businesses, they have very high quality data, right? They're getting all the data of all the money they're making, the money they're losing in real time. And so when these businesses want a loan to grow and expand, a lot of times it's difficult for them. It's time consuming, it's expensive. But with Stronghold getting all the data of their payment, of how well they're doing as a business, they can now go to Stronghold and ask for a loan. And within 72 hours, they will get approved or denied. Now, the money that they get from the loan will come from the participants of the network, right? So now you and I can now loan these companies money to grow and expand, and we get paid the interest. And now we are the bank, right? Finance is getting decentralized, DeFi, right? So, but this has to happen slowly over time. A lot of these protocols are starting full DeFi and they're trying to take over the world. It's not really going to work like that. But Stronghold is slowly moving, right? They're working within the regulatory, confines of the United States. And they're introducing this as the first DeFi application in the real world.
Another big piece for us is the expansion of participants in our merchant financing program. So that's the DeFi piece that we're using to essentially, have pool contributors on the DeFi side. And that works very similarly to a lot of the other, pooled programs that you might know in DeFi. For our group here, there's an allow list on who can participate, and that's for regulatory reasons mainly. But we can get access to capital on that side and deploy it into merchants who are looking for cash advances, right? We have merchants that are processing payments through us. So it makes sense to start offering them these extra services. And there's, they're not able to access these things through traditional means. So we've had a lot of demand there, and we've really been struggling to service all that demand, which is why we need to grow the DeFi program, so that we can, just scale it up. That's really what we're doing there. So a lot of work will go into that. To make that a little bit more enticing to participants as well, we will be introducing administrative fees, which are paid in SHX for the program, the merchant financing program. And a good example is going to be a loan origination fee. So, if you take out a loan, the merchant will have to pay a certain amount of SHX. And this is actually what the governance vote is going to be about. And I hope I can actually talk about it now, but I'm going to anyway.
So the second use case, DeFi. DeFi is the future of finance, and Stronghold is moving strategically and within the regulatory confines of the most powerful nation in the world to bring DeFi to the real world. Now, before we move on to use case number 3 of the Stronghold token, check this out. Right here. Through Stronghold's partnership with Arduro Advisors Venture Capital, for every dollar transacted through the Stronghold payment method, top venture capital funds will earn SHX rewards. Now, I'm not going to make this video hours long, but on your own time, click through, research these venture capital firms. These are the big dogs. What is this? This is about 30 venture capital firms are standing behind the utility of the Stronghold token. What do they see that a lot of retail people don't, right? At a certain point, I like to outsource my intelligence. When I see all the big dogs standing behind a certain protocol, it makes me take a very hard look at it. So that's some food for thought. Let's move on to use case number 3.
There's going to be a governance program where holders of SHX can be able to, vote on some of the things and some of the features that we're working on in the future. So we're really excited about all those 3 use cases, and some are already live today.
And this is actually what the governance vote is going to be about. And I hope I can actually talk about it now, but I'm going to anyway. What the vote is essentially going to be around is what proportion of the administrative fees, and in particular loan origination, gets burned and this will be the first time we have intentional burning of the token, versus what proportion gets redistributed back to the pool contributors. So that is actually what the vote is going to be about. So excited to see how that rolls out, and also interested to see how our current participants respond to those changes, which hopefully makes it more enticing for them.
There we have it, the 3 use cases of the Stronghold token, right? Let's recap. This company has gone in and infiltrated and built a real business in the largest financial network in the world's biggest economy, okay? So they already have hundreds and hundreds of clients, many banks, Ripple, Stellar, IBM, the World Bank, and now they are introducing the token to the already established network. And the 3 use cases of this token are, number 1, rewards for merchants and participants, right? Loyalty rewards that are now tokens that you can stake, you can sell, you can offset fees, you can do whatever your heart desires. Use case number 2 was DeFi, right? We know DeFi is the future of finance, and we're seeing a real business working with real companies in the real world using DeFi and blockchain. And now the participants of the network are the new lenders of last resort. Shout out to Gregory Manarino. But now DeFi is in the real world. Boom, that's use case number 2. And obviously the DeFi program is going to expand over time. All of this is going to expand, right? Think 10 years out. You think they're only going to have one DeFi? No, you have to start somewhere, and you do it, and then you grow and you grow and you grow. That's the way the world really works, okay? Now, use case number 3 is governance, which is massive, right? Because think about the utility of these tokens. Now the more tokens you hold, right, this offsets some of the selling pressure, because not only can you stake it and earn passive income, but now you have governance of the protocol, right? So when we think about these VC firms, a lot of the biggest fear is these VC firms are just going to dump on us, right? They hold all of the supply. We're going to get to tokenomics last, so wait for that. But they're just going to dump on us. And sure, some of them might, but when we think about the utility of the token and the governance being a very big one, it offsets that pressure, okay? And so the first governance vote on the Stronghold protocol is this year in 2023 in Q4. We're going to be voting on the token burn mechanism of the loan origination fees. What happens to those tokens? Do they get burned? Do they get, what happens to them? So we're all going to be voting. I'll be voting on that because, yes, I do hold some of the token. And none of this is financial advice. I'm not telling anybody to go buy this token because, look, it could go to zero. It could go zero or hero, right? So this is for research purposes only, right? So I hope this sparks a little bit of research for you guys to go on your own. Read the white paper. Read the white paper. Watch these clips I'm showing you. Watch all of it, right? Do your own research and figure out what it means for you. Now, lastly, I get this question a lot. I get this concern a lot regarding the Stronghold token. A lot of people, there's 2 main concerns. One's easier than the other one. One is the supply, right? So the supply of the tokens, there's 100 billion tokens, right? And only 5%, give or take, are currently circulating. That means the company and their partners hold 95% of the tokens, okay? Which is a massive amount. So obviously the brain goes, wait, if they hold all the tokens, what happens when those tokens get unlocked and they're able to sell them on the open market? If they all just decide to sell, the token's going to dump, right? So really you have to ask yourself, and I can't answer this for you, but I answered it for myself. Do I think this is a legitimate business? Do I think they are solving real world use cases? What's the size of the problem they're going to solve, right? I believe this is a real world business that's not a VC pump and dump scheme. I think they are trying to transform the largest financial network in the world, in America. And I don't know, my gut instinct just tells me that's not the plan, right? They are going to be rolling this out to mainstream adoption at the same time as those tokens get unlocked, which leads me to point number 2, which is, are these VC firms going to dump on us? And why wouldn't they? And to me, we just talked about it. That's what this whole video is about. The utility of the token. There's passive income. There's governance. There's DeFi. And we just showed you that 30 of those VC firms all have a stake in earning, the token, the bigger the network grows. So I just don't see it as a strategic move for them to dump it at this point in the game when all this stuff we see the regulations coming, right? We see the SEC case. We see, if you're really paying attention, all this stuff is happening now. The world economy is transitioning. That's a whole nother rant I could get started on, but I won't do that here. But so that's just my 2 cents, guys. I want to hear your thoughts about the token, right? Because there's a lot of haters out there. A lot of people say, oh, the token's a scam. They're just going to dump it on everybody, right? And so that's my 2 cents about why sometimes we got to listen to intuition, right? Backed by fact, backed by circumstance. But, if you're in tune with the frequency of truth, then, you're in good hands. So wait for part 3. We're going to highlight some of the biggest partnerships that nobody else is talking about in regards to Stronghold. Subscribe, comment below. See you on the next one. Peace. Yeah, let's go.